hi, thanks for coming on this beautiful sunny day. I'm like, oh, who's going to want to give up their beautiful Wednesday afternoon? If you guys remember from before, I'm super casual, so this is not formal. Please don't think you can't ask questions or interrupt me. Please do. And everybody at home, if you've got a question that, let me know, and I'm happy to go back or jump to something else if I can. So for those of you who don't know, I'm Becca Naill. I am not affiliated with Gmail. I have nothing to do with Google. I don't have anything to do with any of these platforms. I own and run a transaction management company. And so we have just learned a lot of efficiencies over the years. And that's what I'm hoping to share with you guys today. Ways that you can incorporate different efficiencies into your real estate business. And everything that I'm going to show you is free. Like it's already stuff that you have available to you. Part of what I talk about when I do this is I do talk about project management systems. I know you don't need that because you guys have Command, and Command is really comprehensive. It's a CRM, it's task management, it's all that stuff in one. So I'll skip over like the project management stuff. But if you do have any questions about anything that's like a project management software, that's Follow Up Boss, Lion Desk, Basecamp, all those kinds of things are quote unquote project management software. They're great, but again, I don't think that's relevant to you guys since you have Command. So, but if you have any questions about that, let me know. So I think what most of you expressed an interest in when we last talked were some of the Gmail things you can use, tools that you can incorporate. Again, most, if not all, are free. And then some of the different Instanet tools that are available to you for templates for your contract writing. So listing contracts, purchase agreements, of course, and then anything I asked Sarah, I don't remember what the answer was, if there are office templates or not. Actually, I think if I log in, I should be able to see them. So I'll log in. I'm logged in as me. I'll log in as Jordan, and then I'll be able to see your office ones if there are some when we get there. So Instanet tools, and then creating templates, creating things that'll just help streamline your business. At any point, please stop and ask me any questions that you have.
I think you have to.
There we go. There you go. I have to click on it. So we use a proprietary software to manage our transactions. I honestly have never logged into Command because Jordan does everything. But the things that I talk about, you should still be able to utilize, because no matter what software program you're using, whether it's, our proprietary Garnet, if it's Basecamp, if it's Command, all of the steps to take to set that up the most effectively are going to apply no matter what. So what I always tell agents to do when they're like, I don't even know where to start. Let's say you want a task list. You want something that you can create that will be the same every single time you have a contract. I always say, sit down and just make a list. Make a list of everything that has to be done. So if it's on a listing contract, the first thing you need to do is, and you guys substitute whatever it is you do for your businesses. I'm just going totally generic. You're going to do a list of comps for the sellers, and you're going to pull all the information on their property that you have, and then you're going to make the appointment with them, and you're going to put the paperwork together, and you're going to sit down at the table, and then you're going to get the paperwork signed, and then you're going to talk about ordering photos, and then you're going to talk about ordering the sign and when that's going to go, and then you get everything on the MLS, and you're going to upload the photos. Every single task that you have to do, maybe it's ordering a home warranty to have that available on the property to entice buyers, whatever it may be. Make a list of all of the things that you do, and then the timeline in which you do it. And you're not glued to that timeline, but I know Command has the ability to put those tasks into certain dates for you and ping you on when that needs to be done. That's how ours operates. So we always set it up like executed +1 to me is, I've got an executed contract. What do I do the next day? That's my +1. Executed +7. I've got an executed, and whether it's a purchase agreement or a listing agreement, the like code, for lack of a better word, still applies. What am I going to do 7 days from having that contract signed? if your live date is June 1st, what do you have to do May 31st? What do you have to do May 26th? You know, so just kind of think about how you take your tasks, how you structure them in the timeline. That's your base. And then you can plug all of that into command. And again, I wish I could tell you how it works from the backside of it. I can't. The Zimmers I know are there for any questions you have about command. They've specifically told me to direct you to them for that. But if you've got that list on paper, then it's just typing it out, putting it in, and assigning the proper dates. With a purchase agreement, we went through that class the other day and we ran out of time. There's so many things to think of, right? All of those tasks can be timelined. So if it's the earnest money, you've got an earnest money, which is going to be executed +3 on that confirmation day to make sure it's deposited, make sure it's there. You've got inspection. If your inspection contingency date is 7 days, then you've got executed +7 as a date, but you might want executed, or you might want like inspection date -3 because you need time built in there to be talking to them, to make sure everything's good, to make sure that amendment's getting signed. So even those little reminders and the things leading up to tasks, you can calendar for yourself. So we calendar a home warranty. Once the appraisal has been made, once we know that there's, you know, the finance commitment has been done, once we know all of that isn't going to fall through, we've got our home warranty task, usually about closing -7. And then we go in, we order that home warranty. So again, going through and just making a list of everything that you do and when you need to do it. And then that will give you that basic timeline, plug it in. And you can do this with Gmail too. I'll show you how you can set those tasks in Gmail if for some reason you didn't want to use command. They're also available in Gmail. But just making that list of everything that you do, all the little things, any reminder that you need, lender check-in. Like that's one thing that I think people miss. Like, oh, I need to remind myself to do a lender check-in or a title status. Hey, we're, you know, about 3 weeks from closing. How does everything look on title? Are we good? Anything I need to know about? Just those little things to put there, because those are the things that you wake up in the middle of the night and go, oh, I forgot to do that, or I really should do that. And now it keeps you awake because it's on your should list. And then you know, send yourself a text or an email or whatever, and you go back to sleep. So if you know that you have that list built out, you can feel pretty confident that you're not going to drop any balls. That list grows. In 8 years, we are still adding tasks to our transaction management list all the time, because as much as real estate is the same and every transaction is quote unquote the same, they're all different. And something happens that we were like, oh, nobody caught that. We need to make sure we're being proactive about XYZ the next time we see a contract. We just had, I don't know if I talked about this. We had, I don't know if it was the first propane contract we've had, but it was the first time it came up where, of course, the propane fuel had been prorated for the buyers to pay the sellers at closing for whatever was remaining in the tank. And the agent didn't think about it. This particular agent had never done a propane property before. And so she didn't think about it. And when the closing day came and title was like, okay, and buyers, you owe whatever, let's just call it $300 for the remaining propane. They're like, what do you mean? And they were a little upset because they didn't know about it. In that case, the agent paid for it. She's like, I got you. That was my fault. I didn't know. She paid it. So we were like, oof, every time we get a propane property, we are going to let the buyers know that this is going to happen at the end. So you can, you know, you're always growing those tasks, or something's not relevant, or you get the same question asked over and over and over again. Make it a task, make it something proactive that you're sharing information with your buyers or your sellers. Kathy.
Do you know, well, the Zimmers have shared a lot of their like opportunity checklists or whatever. So I have incorporated that and put them in as tasks as well. I don't know, and maybe somebody can answer I feel like I need it to ding on my, I don't know if it notifies me.
How it notifies
Right,
you?
because I'll go.
You should go to your phone. I mean, if you have the app on your phone.
Well, I do, and because I do have it, and maybe I don't have specific dates, maybe that's when it has I need to just look into
You,
it
did
more.
you go into like your settings on your phone and make sure that
Yeah,
notifications?
and so I do get it sometimes, but I think now that I'm looking, some of them I don't maybe even have a due date on it.
Oh, yeah, maybe that's it.
And I know sometimes it'll log me out of the app without knowing. And so then I'm like, I haven't
Yeah.
gotten anything, and I'll go and, oh, I'm not logged into the app. I didn't log out. Okay, so I just need to look at that a little
Yeah.
bit more.
Do you guys, like, I have our software on my phone, but I honestly never, if I went to look at it right now, it'd be like, we don't know who you are, you've never logged in. Every morning I sit down and I look at my to-do list for the day, for the transactions that we have. Maybe that's, if
Well,
it's,
because I do, like, when I open command on my laptop in the morning, it'll show me my tasks,
okay.
but
Yeah, if there's not a due date.
I would like kind of
associated with them.
a ding. An alarm.
Flashing lights and vehicles. Kathy, this is what you need to do today. So that's create that timeline and then generate the emails that you send out the most often. And then make those into templates. This is where we kind of started talking the other day. You guys are like, how do you do that?
Yeah.
So that's probably the meat and potatoes of what I'll show you today are some of those Gmail stuff. But if you want to come back to any of the project management timeline stuff, please let me know. And then obviously, if you collaborate or delegate with anybody on a team, figuring out who does what. And then in command, I know you can delegate those tasks to somebody else so that those are always assigned. And then it's just kind of a no-brainer about who's doing what. Is this print big enough? Can you guys read it? Okay. So here's the cool stuff. And I will actually go to my Gmail and walk you through where these things are. So templates, that's like the canned responses is what what Gmail calls it. So you can create an email that will go out every single time the same way. There's like a delay on here. Sorry, it's kind of weirding me out. So it's this the three dots at the bottom. And then where it says templates, you will have a list. And if you don't have this turned on, I'm going to show you how to turn it on. Does anybody not have templates available?
Yeah.
You don't? Okay. So go up to settings and then see all settings. And then oh, maybe it's under advanced. I thought it was under general. Let me look under advanced. There it is. So under advanced, it says templates, and then you just want to hit enable.
Okay.
And now if you do a refresh on it, you should have
Make sure to save your change if you didn't.
oh yeah, hit
Oh.
save.
Okay, I'll go back and do that.
And then let me know if you don't have, now where'd they all go? Now I have to hit refresh.
Yes, now I have it.
Okay, good. So when you create one, first you'll just type it out. So we'll just do test template for KW. You can put the subject in there, test template. And in this one, you're going to want to do like I always do like greeting, and then I'll fill it in, dear Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and then I'll do congratulations on getting blah, 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 blah. And then I'll do, property address. And I just literally make myself a template that I then will go back and fill it. So all the other verbiage is, the same stuff I'm always saying over and over and over again. I put more in there than less because it's easier to take stuff out than to plug something in. So if they have an HOA, there's a blurb for the HOA in there. If they don't have an HOA, I just delete it before I send it. If they're on a if they have sewer, then that blurb is in there. I just delete it if they don't. So it's easier to put more in. Then once you have all of the text that you want in your template, you go back down to the three dots. And then you go back to template. And then if you scroll all the way to the bottom, I've got a ton of them. Then you do save draft as template, and then again, you scroll all the way down, and you probably have nothing. It just says save draft and then save as new, and then save as new template. Here you can rename it whatever you want. I've got mine pretty detailed. You know, it's like intro to buyer, intro to buyer's agent, intro to seller with new contract, like whatever it may be. And then I leave the subject line there, so I'm not always redoing the subject line. So I'll just do like in all caps, intro to buyer, and then congratulations on getting 123 Maple Street under contract. Whatever verbiage you guys use. So you name it, hit save, obviously. And now you've got your template. The next time you want to send that email, then it will be at the top of your templates. So right there. And then if I hit test template, it's going to auto-populate. Now, I will say when you do it, when you save your template, whatever you have for your email signature, delete it, because your email signature, if it auto-populates into your emails,
Okay.
yeah, then you'll end up with it twice. Sure. So I just keep it blank. Then every time I create that new email, it automatically does it just like it would a normal email. Any questions on the templates?
No, I'm excited because I've done it in my drive.
Yeah.
And then
Mine's
you
in
copy
my
and
drive.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. So you can always change them. So if you're like, oh, shoot, I have a typo, or I need to redo that. Then when you've got it, when you've got the template up, you just change whatever. Edited, whatever you say, and then you just go through that process all over again. Again, remove your email signature, because every time you save it, it's going to literally save what's on there. And then you just have to do it again. Save as new. It's going to say, do you want to override this one? So here I can just save it as test template, because that's still what I want to call it. You're gonna write over this one. Do you want to? Yep, I do. So now next time that piece is in there. So it's gonna take some time at the front end, but if you already have them in Drive, you're just copy pasting in there.
Yeah, way quicker.
Yeah. Any questions on that? Oh, it's a total lifesaver.
As I left today, Phil said, have fun. I know this is right up your alley.
But
And then I said, maybe she'll tell me how to organize Phil. He said, nope, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, you're on your own with your husband. I deal with mine, you deal with yours. Okay. So this, I feel like I want to turn and look at it this way because I'm straining my neck. There's so much stuff down here. I've got like my reminders, and I've got follow up with this person and follow up with that person. Sometimes it's easier just to set a follow up in your email when they've emailed you, or like if you've emailed them or they've sent you an email and said, yep, we'll get that done. And then you're like, great, thanks. And then it goes off into the abyss. And then a week later, you're like, shoot,
Yeah.
I totally, because you're on the run, you're doing whatever. There's a snooze feature. So if you, let's go back to one of my regular emails here. Let's do, so if I'm going to New Orleans this weekend with another mom and our daughters. So I'll just use this. There's nothing confidential. So Gail says to me, let's do this, blah, 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 blah. I say, fine, great. You hit send, you never think about it again. There's a button right up here that is snooze. So I do this with every email that I send. If there's an answer or a response that I'm waiting for, or I just know that I'm going to have to check back in on something. And I don't have it built into my project management. I don't, whatever. This is like the lazy man's way to do it. You just can hit snooze this email until whenever. And these are the default settings. So a lot of times if I'm asking for something on a Wednesday, I'll snooze it to Monday. Or if it's something I don't want to deal with today, but I have to deal with it at some point, I snooze it till Saturday morning, whatever it may be. You can also just pick the date and time. So if I did this snooze and then I just did it to like 5 minutes from now, it will pop back into my inbox 5 minutes from now as unread. It's not foolproof. You still have to remember why that email popped into your email, but you at least have the whole thread to reference and go, oh yeah, they were going to do XYZ. And I just need to make sure they did because I never heard back from them. Gmail will also nudge you. You can turn on nudges under the settings. And like every 2 or 3 days, if you sent something, but nobody responded to you, it will actually show up in your email with a little box over to the side that says like nudge. or dismiss. And you can do that again in your settings. And then you can either dismiss it, or it just shows up as a reminder, hey, you sent this email to somebody, but nobody responded to you. Do you want to do something with this? And you can hit dismiss, or you can say, yeah, I actually need to. Thank you very much, Gmail. And these are all in your settings. I think that one was under general.
It's under general.
Where do you see it?
Go down a little
I
way.
kind of like the snooze better because you're choosing the one.
Yeah, it's more.
Go down just, I think, a little further.
There, nudge. Yep. Okay. Thank you. The snooze is more purposeful, but you know, sometimes
still,
stuff
right.
and you're like, oh, that's right. That guy never got back to me.
Right.
And then it's like, here you go.
Mhm.
So under nudge, if you just check those two boxes, then it will do it. I love smart reply. I don't know if you guys use that. It anticipates what you're going to say and it learns how you talk.
Oh, yeah.
And that's awesome because then it'll like finish your sentences for you and you just hit tab and then it's like, and it writes it.
you.
I know. Thank you very much. You sometimes know what I'm going to say more than I know what I'm going to say. So that's really a nice one. The smart reply, having that on. The other one that I love and it saves my butt every single day is undo send. So under, again, under the general and under settings, undo send, 30 seconds is the max unless they've changed it recently, which I will always take more. If you send a message across the bottom, it will say undo send or view message. You've got 30 seconds to pull that email back for whatever reason. You sent it to the wrong person, you forgot the attachment, you meant to put the address in the subject line, you forgot to add something that you wanted to tell them, whatever it is. You can call it back for 30 seconds. You can do 10 or 22, but why would you do 10 or 20 when you can do 30? The only thing that kind of stinks about it is when you're like on the phone with someone, you're like, oh, I just sent you that email. It's going to be about 30 seconds till you get it when they're like staring at their computer waiting for it. So that's a really good one.
And I don't know if, like you said, you forgot to, it'll remind me if I said I was attaching something and I don't.
Yeah,
I don't know, that must be default because I don't think
I think that's default because, yep, that one always
that has saved me.
very true. I don't think
you're.
smart features.
Anyway, it must just probably does it automatically.
Yeah, it might just be what they do. You guys know how to set your signatures and stuff, right?
Yep.
And if you don't, I don't want to assume anybody knows anything. So if you don't, please let me know. There's all kinds of different things you can play around. Again, I don't know all of it. There's a bazillion add-ons that you can get. Chat GPT, you can add that in there, which is really nice. I don't know a whole lot about it except for the 30,000 TikToks my husband sends me every day about how to use Chat GPT. But you can go in and add it. So if you're using that for some of the different stuff with your properties and your buyers and your sellers, you can add that in and then pull that right in. PDF filler, I really like having that attached to my email because if somebody sends me a document, I can open it up right from within there and I can type in it, change it, do whatever. If you don't have PDF filler, it's a great one for everything. Like we use it all the time. I use it a lot in Texas contracts only because in Texas, they don't have like amendments per se. They just write right on top of the contract and strike through and add in new stuff and then initial the contract. So I use it a lot for that because I'm uploading a PDF that I can do. But if you attach it to your Gmail, then it's all contained right within there. Same thing with DocuSign. You can send documents right from directly in. Dropbox is great. You can, it all shows up just across the bottom when you add all these things in, whatever it is you add. And I encourage you just to go to the store. Where is the store? I forgot where they put it. The marketplace, and you can kind of play around with whatever is that you want in there. I don't know why I can't see it.
When I hit manage, it showed me over to the left. That's where it showed me all the ones that.
Perfect, thank you. Yep. Can't. Well, it's me, I promise it's me. So this is where all of mine are stored. But I was gonna show you where the store is. I'll come back to it because I can't. Just glare and I can't see. If you see it, let me know. Right there. I think this is it. No. I don't know. I'm being annoying, so I'll just go back to what I was doing before. Okay, so templates, we did that. Creating those emails, schedule send. Do you guys use this one?
I like that.
I love this one. Schedule send allows you to send an email at a later time. So you don't necessarily want people to know that you're working on Sunday at 7 p.m. Or you need to send something to your clients, but they don't need that information right now, but you just want to get it off your to-do list. So I do this with utilities. 2 weeks before a property, I send them a list of utilities, and I can schedule that to, I can send that email whenever, schedule it, but it won't go out for 2 weeks. I do this with follow-ups for if you have any clients that you just want to follow up with on a 3-month basis. Hey, just checking in, how's everything going? We do this with 1-year anniversary, 6-month anniversaries for properties. Hey, congratulations. Maybe you send them a gift card. Maybe you just say, hope everything's going great. Do you need anything? Are there any vendors that you are in need of right now? Please let me know. You create your canned response and you schedule it for 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, whatever. The way to do that is you create your email. And then in the body, oops. It's not just me that when people are watching you type, you can't type, right? Like you look like an idiot. Okay, so you have all your stuff in there, whatever you're going to say to them. You do have to have somebody in there or it won't go anywhere. And then you come down here to send, and this little arrow is next to it. And when you click on it, it says schedule send. And now I can pick when I want to send it. I can send it a year from now if I want to. I can send it 6 months from now. I can send it tomorrow morning instead of tonight. I think it's crucial in the world we work in that we teach people how to work with us. And if we're emailing at 10 o'clock on a Sunday night, they might email us back and we don't necessarily want them to. So you can schedule that for the next morning. Any questions on that one? So that was the schedule send right here. Here's where I was talking about like Dropbox. So if I want to pull one in from my Dropbox, I can because I added Dropbox to my Gmail. And then you can also save to Dropbox. So it's just saving you download, upload. You're just not downloading and uploading. It's just going directly in and coming directly from. These are kind of cool. This toggle multi-send. If I click this, I can put in any of my groups that I've created. So if you have do you guys create contact? Well, you probably use Command for this. But if you do use Gmail for this and you create your groups and maybe they're, buyers buying this year, maybe they're buyers over 500, maybe they're whatever. You can choose one of your groups, or you can just put everybody in randomly. But I label all mine, so I've got 27 different groups that I can pull from. What happens here is I can send this email, but you know how if you BCC people, You have to send it to yourself. They know they're being BCC'd, which isn't horrible, but it kind of is not the best feeling of an email. If you CC them all, they can see everybody. So this is a combination of the two. So it's toggle send. Again, it was this little email icon down at the bottom. And it puts all these people in here, but they're only going to see their own name. So it's going to say it went just to Deb Hayes. She's not going to see everybody else in there. And then you can put whatever information in that email body, and they can reply to you, but they're not replying to all, because everybody hates the person who replies to all when there's 100 people on an email. But also it doesn't look like a blind copy email that went out to them. So it's a little bit of both. And then you guys probably have this in command, so it might not be as necessary, but I use this all the time. I use this sometimes for our weekly stats. I use this for an invitation for a sip and see. I use it for a lunch and learn. You can put any kind of information, all these different types of templates. And it basically just looks like this. You choose which one you want, insert. And then you can swap out the picture. So when I've done sip and sees, I've put the property there. The travel agency, you can remove it or you can change it to something else. Obviously, it's just placeholders for everything. So all of this is, here you can write sip and see, you can put the information here. I do a lot of Eventbrite events. So then I'll link that to my Eventbrite, and you can actually change that too. So it says like RSVP, not sign up, or click here for more information and link it to the property, whatever you want to do. All of this is totally interchangeable. So you can create that, and then it just goes out as Gmail instead of using like your CRM or whatever, if you needed that available to you.
And then I'm assuming you could save that as a template? Or not?
Well, that's a really good
I think you can.
idea. Why can't you?
Why not, right?
I'm sure I just did.
Yeah.
That's a really great idea, except you may, depending on if you're swapping stuff, like different properties, but then you would
Right.
just change the picture every time. And look at that. Genius.
How do I get those two buttons on the bottom? After the little like pencil thing?
Yep, you don't have these?
No.
Okay, so it's gonna be a settings thing, I'm sure. Mine just honestly showed up one day. So I don't know if I have something that just like throws stuff on there.
Yeah.
Let's try general first.
I didn't.
I don't remember seeing it in here. Smart features. It's likely an add-on.
Oh, okay.
Let's just keep looking. We're already there, so it's not that, because the only thing I have, I would guess it's probably this. I know it's called toggle. I'm not going to go through it all again.
It's okay.
If you find the store, it's called toggle.
Okay.
If you hover over it, we'll hover and see what it says. So this one is called layout, I'm guessing.
Yep.
And then this one's toggle multi-send.
Okay. Thanks.
Yep. So yours stops at the signature.
Yeah. And then it has the 3 dots,
Okay.
but okay. Huh. All right. Thanks.
Yeah, look in there. And I'll look for it too. And if you can't find it, let me know. You guys, you can do confidential mode in here too, right? So if you're sending somebody a financial statement, they won't be able to forward it. So whatever you send them goes to them and it doesn't go to anybody else. You can make it so that it's not downloadable. So it's only viewable. They can't download it. They can't save it. They can't, so whether it's somebody's financials, whatever, you can click that so that it locks it, it sends it, and even you can make it disappear. There's also a way to put something as subject line. I don't remember what it is. if you Google it, you started off with blah, 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 before you put the subject line, and then it makes them have to put in a password to be able to open it, like Title does with a lot of their emails. You can do that within Gmail too, but you have to be proactive about it. And I can't remember what the little code is, but if you Google it, it'll say how to make.
When I clicked on it, it does say, do you want to require a passcode?
Where's the
Okay.
confidential one at? Where's that?
So that one is
That's just
right,
that little lock.
it's a little lockbox, yep, so if you click it here. Yep, so
Hmm.
passcode, no passcode.
Yeah, so let's see, click one.
Yep. You can make it expire. I don't know if you can make it not expire. 5 years is probably good. Yeah, so that's always helpful when we're sending stuff that we don't want somebody else to be able to
So is
forward.
that, do you know if that's safe enough for like, because not to like send social security numbers or, I mean, not that I am ever going to, but is that considered? safe
If I
enough?
had to send somebody's personal information, that's how I would do it, because they can view it, but they can't forward, download, and it'll vanish.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah. I don't even think they can save it. I think if they like save the email, it still
Just
just vanishes after a week.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. Snooze, we did that one. Tasks. You can do tasks in your email. I don't utilize this as much as I should. Every time I talk about it, I'm always like, why don't I do that? So if I, let's just use my New Orleans one again. I can come over here and one, I can put it right onto my calendar. Now, I am horribly calendar challenged. Like, I feel like I'm a fairly intelligent person. I screw up calendar invites all the time. Like, I picked the wrong Tuesday. I made it AM, not PM. I did it all day. My husband's like, oh, really? We have a doctor's appointment all day long. I'm like, I don't know what time it is. I'll have to go back and look because I don't do it. I don't have to anymore. I just click this, and then whatever information is dated and timed in there will pull into your calendar automatically. It'll ask you, do you want to create this as an event? Yes. And then it will, if you said 2 p.m. at Nina's Coffee in St. Paul on June 10th, it will just create it based on that email, but you have to be in the email when you do it, and then click on that button up there. You can do tasks in here. So if for my New Orleans trip, I have stuff I need to do, I can do this, book tours. And then I can do a date and time, and it will ping me just like any other calendar invite would be. But the difference is, like, you're in your email, you've got it right in front of you, you're task managing right then and there, not having to come back to it later. And it pulls in some of the verbiage every once in a while too. I've noticed it's like, oh, did you want to task this? Yeah, actually I do. Thank you very much. So you can set those times, you can make a repeating one. So those are kind of cool. I like them, like I said, and then it just sits there. So it's like in your face as you're in your email, as long as you're not the kind of person who ignores stuff that's just sitting in front of you. You have to like actually remember to look at it, and you can check it off just like any other task list for everybody who likes to do checks. You can check it, and then it goes away, gives you a little nice work, all that stuff. Oh, no, go back. I think I'm not done. Did I get them all? So toggle, that's the multi-send confidential, calendaring. The notes, you can put those notes in your sidebar like that, so it lives with your email. And then if you open that email up, those notes will still be there. So if it was like, oh, we're ordering a home warranty, I need to email title on whatever day, or in Minnesota, we contract them, but in Texas, we ask the buyers, so I could put in my notes, like they want American Home Shield. You can put that so it lives with your emails. It's always there when you open that email. I think I got all those. Any questions on that stuff? Okay. we've got what, about 20 minutes left, so this is good. Creating templates, I'll do those first. There's a lot of stuff in transaction desk, but a lot of it you probably don't need, so I'll just do templates first. So if you have your transaction desk open, we're gonna go to the checklist manager. Am I logged in? I think I am. Yep. So we're gonna go to transaction desk. And then, not checklist manager, sorry, we're gonna go down here to templates. The second to bottom, it used to be a gear. I think, do we all have the same version? It used to be a gear, and I just noticed today that it's actually just this little piece of paper. If you open that, click on the transaction templates. This is where you might have some, I didn't bother to log out and log back in my Keller Williams, so it's going to look a little different than yours. If you have office templates, they're going to kind of look like this does. So Tara Alvarez with Coldwell Banker created these. I can't touch them because she created them at an office level. So if you have ones that like Sarah or whoever creates your templates would have, it'll say created by Sarah McGowan. You can't touch it except to use it. You can't edit it. You can't really do anything except use it. You can create your own by just doing add. And it'll say personal. You can't create in the office, but you can toggle between them, I think. But personal, you're going to name it. We'll do test buyer tract.
What did mine didn't come up with, like ownership type?
It's going to depend on, I have office level privileges at Coldwell Banker. So if you don't have office level, it might just only let you do,
Okay.
It might only let you make ones for yourself.
Okay, good. 'Cause I
Yeah.
don't really-
Yeah, I don't have it either.
Okay.
What type is this? This would be a residential sale. And then you can put whatever you want in there. But maybe you're going to make one that has, for properties that have HOAs on them. Maybe you're going to make one that has acreage. Maybe you're going to make, with well and septic on it. Maybe one that's pre-1978. So it has a lead-based paint already included in it. You can make as many of these templates as you want. And then the description obviously would just be for yourself. Whatever you want to tell yourself about that template can go in there. I don't do anything with them, but you certainly can.
So then they're just gonna show up on my transaction desk.
Correct. Yep. Only you logged in as
Okay,
you
Great.
see those.
Well, that's helpful.
Yeah. So you can say whatever you want about that. This is the one you always forget to include the LBP. So this is and then down here, so now if you do have checklists that you use, you can create checklists externally from this and pull it in. So maybe it's your buyer checklist and it's, do I have their pre-approval? Do I have a love letter? Do whatever you do. Do we have, I don't know, whatever you do, you could add those checklists and then it'll say, what checklist do you want to use? Buyer checklist. Maybe it's a listing checklist. And then it will give you all the things that you created and told yourself you need to put in there and ask you, do you have all these things? And then it will show up every single time. Contacts. If you use transaction desk to store your contacts, which I'm guessing you guys don't because you use command, and some brokerages literally use nothing but transaction desk for everything. They don't have a SkySlope, they don't have a command, so they can put their contacts right into this. And then it could say it's Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and it'll pull that in. Why is that important? Because when you start doing your contracts, it's going to auto-populate a lot of that information for you, just like on a wizard. Now, in this case, we are creating a template. So remember, anything you put in this will always come through. So maybe this isn't Mr. and Mrs. Smith for this one because Mr. and Mrs. Smith are not going to be on every contract you ever do, but maybe it's the same title person. Maybe it's your broker because you might have documents your broker needs to sign. Maybe it's your assistant who needs to be CC'd on everything and see everything that comes through. Maybe it's your real estate partner because they need to sign stuff too. Whatever it may be, who's always an active part of your contracts can go in there. And then documents and folders. This is different from contracts. Documents and folders is your love letter. It's your pre-qual letter. But again, you're not going to put those, let me back up. It's all the things that you have like on your desktop or in your drive that you would upload. Maybe you put a listing presentation in with your paperwork. So when you print off the whole big thing, it's your meet my team, it's your a little bit about me, it's whatever you do on every single one. That would go in here. These are my preferred partners. You know, this is my title, this is my lender, this is my stager, this is my transaction manager, whatever you put on there, that would go with every single one. So that stuff would go under documents and folders. Then forms, these are going to be the actual contracts and the documents that come from North Star and from Transaction Desk. So this is probably the biggest piece that you guys want. You do add, just like you would with anything else, you're going to pull in all the regular contracts. So this is up here first. I'm just going to do it, pretend it's not, it's Coldwell Banker, but it is. And then here are all of the different contracts that you can have. Now yours won't say Coldwell Banker, yours will say Keller Williams. It'll be the ones appropriate to you. And then you would find the purchase agreement. And it's always easier just to search, in my opinion. And if you spell it correctly, it's incredibly effective. Okay, so then there's so many addendums, we still just have to scroll. So then when I do, stop me if you see it. Addendum, cancellation, purchase agreement. So you can put in as many of these as you want. So maybe you do want, maybe you've got sewage on this one, so you need that in there. There's an LBP in here somewhere. And you could add that. So whatever documents you want in here, if you take out purchase, then of course you've got all of them available to you, and you can pull in all the different documents that you put into a purchase agreement. So if this is your before 1978 property, you have your LBP in there. If it's not, then you don't have it in there. If it's the HOA, you've got your HOA CIC in there. You get where I'm going with that. So you put all the ones that you want when they're all there, and you can see which ones are there. If you click on the basket, it will then show you only the documents that you selected that are in your template, and then add. And now it's going to create it for you. So this is the easy part. The part that's time consuming is you have to go back and then do them. So once you have them, you can open it. And then here's where you put in whatever you put into your purchase agreements that's not specific to that property. And for the sake of time, when you're writing a purchase agreement and you go to the property, and underneath it are all the little icons, and one's the transaction desk, and you can click on it, and then it'll kind of walk you through, create a purchase agreement, walk you through the wizard, all that stuff. The more, I know a lot of agents just are like skip. The more information you put into wizard, the more effective it'll be in your templates. Because if you think about it, back to when you create a new, when you open up a listing under the MLS photo and you go in that way, and then it says like, do you want to use the wizard? Do you want to use a template? You're going to say, yes, I want to use a template. And then it's going to say, what template do you want to use? I want to use my buyer LBP template, or I want to use my buyer HOA or my buyer land template. And it's going to pull that one up. And then it's going to say, do you want to use the wizard? And if you say yes, yes, and then it's going to start asking you all these questions that you're like, skip, just get me to the purchase agreement. The more information you put into the wizard, you have to put it in anyway. Either you type it into the wizard or you type it into the contract. My point is, if you put it into wizard, it will always automatically populate into whatever document you then add to that transaction. So if down the road you need an amendment, if down the road you need give me something, I don't know, whatever. If you need something else down the road, you don't have to go through and type their name out, do all that stuff. And in Transaction Desk, if you're keeping track of anything, and again, this doesn't apply to you guys as much with command, if you put in executed date, purchase price, earnest money amount, earnest money due date, financing commitment due date, inspection, if you take the time to do that and you don't use command, this will actually ping you in Transaction Desk, and you can set up a project management system within Transaction Desk. Now, again, not as crucial for you guys because you have command, but it's available. So in here, this is your template. So we're not going to put buyers' names because that's not going to be the same every time. You're only going to do whatever is the same every time. So if for some reason you always had the title company hold escrow for you, you could put that in here. And you always used XYZ title. You could put that right here and then it will always do that. Probably not as realistic as some of the other stuff. This stuff is probably going to change all the time, so we're not going to do it. You could even do like template, not contingent upon financing. If, that's not probably all that often these days, but I don't know. You could do that, or, it's almost always first mortgage, or it's almost, if you do mostly conventional, but maybe you do a lot of DVAs. So you create a second one for DVAs. All you're doing is making it foolproof for yourself. So somebody doesn't go, you forgot to check the financing box. You can do that ahead of time. And again, you can create, and you can copy these. So if you create one and you want it to be exactly the same, you just want DVA instead of conventional, you just do copy. You go in, you uncheck conventional, you check DVA, and then you do save as DVA contract. So you don't have to go through the whole thing all over again. So really, it's easy to make as many of them as you want. So, if you always do, if we're for the next year at 7% or 6%, I don't know, whatever you guys would fill in. You get my point. You can go through, check in all the stuff that you want to check. Go through there, blah, 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 and just fill it all in. Then when you're done, you just go up to the top like you would any other, and you hit save. And you hit save. And then you've got the template. So the next time that you go to create up there, let's just do this and see. Oh, here your URL is. I was just going to walk through how it populates it, but I'm never in properties. Somebody want to shout out an MLS number for me? Do you have one off the top of your head?
If you just click coming soon, and then in the house number, put 14441. And then it should pop up at the bottom. Yeah. I don't remember that one.
Yeah, there we go. Okay. So if I were to open this up and I would go down here. No, up here, they moved it. There. Okay. Then template. Yes, I want to use a template. I want to use the training template that I just created. And North Star Data, that one. Use Wizard. Create. And then it's going to walk you through it, put as much into the wizard as you want to, and it's going to create those documents based on what you just created. So you don't have to type it all in. You can do that with your listing contracts, obviously. You can do it with everything. And then it walks you through it. The forms are going to be over here, just like always. And there's that one that we just did. And there it is. And it auto-filled everything. And I don't think I checked anything. I think I unchecked everything that I checked. But whatever I put in there would have been there. So then you're not constantly redoing it. Cool. Awesome. Checklists really aren't that probably relevant for you guys. Oh, clauses. Do you use clauses in your contracts? That's a good one.
I do.
So let me go back to where we were. Where were we? Over here. There is clause templates as well. Clauses. So if you create the same verbiage for every contract that has an appraisal clause for appraisal gap, or if you put the same verbiage in, I have one agent whom I absolutely adore in Austin, but he writes the worst verbiage into his contracts. And he just says like, buyer can, something about more or less, buyer reserves the right to put more or less money down at any time whenever he or she chooses. That's what it says every time in every contract. I'm like, well, I mean, that covers it, I
Yeah.
guess. He's the wackiest guy ever. But whatever. So instead of typing that out every single time, instead of keeping it in a copy paste outside in a drive folder, you can just create clauses. And this is great for the office if you guys want to have uniformity, or if the office requires you to use certain verbiage for any Keller Williams thing or any appraisal gap thing or whatever.
I feel like we have some.
We do.
Do you? Okay.
They did put some out there.
Yeah.
Perfect. So then you can go in and whatever clause that is, when you are in the purchase agreement. Let's find a place where we can put verbiage right here.
Yeah, they have like 6 out there for.
Okay, so then you would go up here where it says clause, click it. Oh, a multi-text line. I was in the multi-text line. Why can't I put it in that one? Okay, let's find a different multi-text line. We'll do this one. And now what clause do you want to use? I've got my own personal clause. I've got office clause. You choose that, you click it, you say, okay, and boom, it's all written in there.
I always just retyped it. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
So they're there for you. You just, the little, at the top clause, add this one. You can have as many clauses as you want. Any questions on that?
No.
Did I get everything on their contract templates clause, task management? You don't really care about that. Canned notes, you can also do the same thing. If you put notes into your, I don't know why you really would, if I'm being honest. I mean, you can create like basically canned responses in Transaction Desk, but you've got Gmail and you've got Command, so it doesn't really matter. So that's how that stuff works. This is just an example of the canned notes. You can keep the emails. Clause templates, we just did that. I think I got everything. Oh, these are kind of cool. Are you guys allowed to use like utility concierge? And by allowed, I mean like if you don't have other partners and vendor partners, I always want to be really careful.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, me neither.
Okay. Utility concierge and updater are two that I really like. I think of utility concierge in the next one. So it will actually reach out to, there's a bunch of companies that do this, and I've shied away from partnering with them. But agents can partner with them because I can't sign you up as an agent for your buyers and your sellers. But they're really good programs. Utility concierge is the one that connects with our North Star MLS, and it will work directly with your buyers, reaches out to them. Your buyers have to sign up. So they like get a email or a text message, and they have to sign up, and they provide their personal information. And then utility concierge will reach out to them and say, what services do you want us to set up for you? And they do, you know, cable, security systems, whatever it is. And so they walk them through all of these utilities, and then your buyer really is just like, yep, do that one. Yep, do that one. And they don't have to figure out, and you don't have to figure out, is this one Excel? Is this Dakota Electric? Is this, you know,
Is there a
whatever.
fee? Is there a
What
fee
is
for
the
that?
cost? I don't know how, usually it's free to the buyer. It's no charge to the buyer. I've seen different, I don't know how concierge does it. I've seen different where it's like a minimal fee to the agent just to have it like $12.99 a year or something, because they're getting their money from the service providers. And then, you know, it's almost like a referral. So the more buyers they can get to connect directly, the company's being compensated that way, but you might have a nominal fee just to be part of it. And then updater. This is one that just sends them like tasks and reminds them of things to do. So if you don't have a transaction manager who does this, if you don't do this yourself, if you don't want to do this yourself, updater will do it for you. Hey, don't forget to forward your email. Don't forget to set up your utilities if they weren't using concierge. Book your move. It's time to book a moving company. Here's some moving companies. And it's a lot of just one click, one stop shop kind of stuff. Personal preference. I would feel out of control personally doing that. But if you are an agent who likes to automate things, I've heard really good things about it. We don't personally use it. We reach out to people directly. But they're available and they're right through MLS and they're connected. So every time you put something into your transaction desk, they're going to talk to each other and know that you have a buyer closing on June 12th. And the more information, again, that you put into that transaction, the more information they're going to have, and then it'll ping you to set this up or ping you to do that with your buyers, that type of thing.
And that kind of is what command would do if you're having your task.
Do they? Okay.
Yeah, your
Yeah,
smart
you could
plan.
build that
Your
into
smart
your smart
plan.
plan. Okay,
Yeah,
perfect.
but like you said, it's then you're doing it
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah.
But
And there's always some front work, you know,
Right.
like front end work
Yeah.
for everything, whether it's command and building it into your smart plans or using something like this. I think that's it. I think that's all I got.
awesome.
I had an hour and I did it. I did it in an hour.
It's 1:00.
Yeah, that was it. That was the last one I had.
Thank you.
Yeah, I hope it was helpful.
Oh, for
Yeah.
sure.
The
Very.
Gmail stuff is just,
Oh, yeah. Well, it does so much that you just don't even know
Yeah.
about. You need
Right.
somebody to. I mean,
well, we could spend 4 hours
Oh,
on
right.
Gmail. Those
Yeah.
are just kind of the things that are easy and right there. I've got a 2:30, but I can stick around for a little bit if anybody wants help with like the template creation stuff. Otherwise, that's it.
So how does using your services work then?
We do a lot of that stuff for you. So, we're putting everything in command. We're not running your smart plans and we're not doing tasks within command because we run it ourselves and it's a little bit redundant. But we're tracking all those contingencies. We're sending the trust funds for earnest money. We're tracking the earnest money if it's your seller. Again, putting everything in command, completing all of that. We do utility reminders. We track those contingencies. We communicate with the lender and title and do all those status checks. We order the home warranty. We check on closing confirmations. We're making sure the preliminary alta's gone out, final alta's gone out. So we're doing all of those things.
So is it included with our stuff here, or is there like a separate fee?
It is included if you are part of RIDE.
If I am, okay.
Okay, so it's included on your RIDE files.
It's only the RISE files, okay.
Only the RIDE files, correct, Beth?
Yes.
And then it's a charge to the agent directly at closing.
Okay.
And then it's deducted from commission. So you're not actually being billed in this office, it's just deducted from your commission.
Yeah.
And if we are helping you with your listing, putting it all on the MLS, ordering the photos, ordering the signs, doing the seller's disclosure, command, all of that. On the listing side, you're actually billed directly because there's not a transaction and there's not a closing to take it out of. We bill once it goes live on the MLS, but we're doing all that stuff too. So once you've got a listing under contract, then we step in and we manage it going forward. I always say, like, to the extent that you want us to, if the appraisal comes back, it made value, woohoo, we're super excited. If you want to be the one to tell your buyers or your sellers that, then you do. If you're like, don't care, you tell them, and then you get to go, woohoo, guys, yay, we just cleared another hurdle. And you just get to be like the person who jumps in and is really excited. You can do that too. So we customize it for each agent and how they like to run their business.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the fee?
400 for transaction, 250 for listing.
Okay.
She's very good.
Jordan
The
is,
team does a fabulous job.
Yeah.
thank you. Yeah, Jordan is really, really, really good. And sometimes just not having to manage command
Mhm.
is worth it. But we do so much more than that. Yeah. Any questions?
Thank you. This was so
Thank
helpful.
you.
Yeah,
Good, I'm glad.
just go and.
Now you just have to do it. Right, yeah.
But I love, that's just like Phil said, it's